You've never stopped supporting me. It's incredible. 47 years have passed since we first met. Linda and I met at Mackay Airport in 1974. She started with K Rent-A-Car a week before I started with TAA. Well, those are too young to remember, TAA is Trans-Australian Airlines.
Get over it.
Thanks, Archie.
You're employed with it, you work for it.
Over the next 12 months, we got to know each other platonically. We both had
Too much information.
boyfriends and girlfriends. But every now and again we had to work on a weekend. So on a Sunday there was about 3 to 4 hours between flights. So we quite often got together and played chess or just chatted. But then in February 1976, on the 16th of February, there was a belated St. Valentine's Day dinner by the Oriental Hotel. And we went along, and two people here today also came along, and that is Rosemary and Neil. And after a few glasses of scotch, because it was a scotch dinner, there was no wine, it was just scotch. After a few glasses of scotch, I said to Lynn, it's leap year. I can't ask you to marry me. You'll have to ask me. Well, she turned around and said, will you marry me? I said, yes. And she said, shit. So the next day, we had a few phone calls, and that was to see whether we were serious or it was just the alcohol. But after some time that day, we realised we'd have to get together and sort this out. So we did. And we decided, yes, we were suited for each other. So from that day on, we were inseparable, except for 8 weeks in March when she went away with Rosemary to England and Canada. But we then got married on the 16th of October the same year. So it was very quick, and a lot of people in Mackay thought, that's not going to last, but here we go, 47 years down the track.
Lynn said it was very quick as well. You got a lot of patience. Give me half an hour, though.
I heard that, Jim. It's taken a special meaning today with our precious son Daniel, his wife Catherine, and our grandchildren Max and Erica co-hosting the celebration. Also help from family friends Rosemary and a few others around the place for all the help they've done. We could never have done this down at Hope Island. Most of you know that we have restrictions in apartments. Lynn is a refreshing source of love and devotion, and not only to me, but all those that who she comes in contact with. Whenever you're down, you can count on her to find something positive and inspiring. Lynn, never in my life has anyone loved me like you do. You're an angel that was sent down to make this world a better place. And I always count myself blessed to have married you. You have taught me so much in life. From you I learned to be practical, to set practical goals, and to work towards achieving them. You've shown me how to appreciate what we have and never take anything for granted. Being your husband is an honour, and I will never trade it for any other experience. I love you from the moon and back. I can't wait to see what the future holds for you, and I'm sure it will be bright because you make life worthwhile. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've got a drink, and we'll drink a toast to Lynn on her 70th. To Lynn.
Now the next name.
Yeah, it was great.
This is the end of it too.
Yeah, it is. Get the pages in order. And I do have the rope to sponsor, so please indulge me. Well, I don't know really where to start, whether it's because of the words that everybody's spoken I'm quite overwhelmed with, or whether I'm overwhelmed because I've got another decade to embrace and to be around all my family and friends. Anyway, please just indulge me while I acknowledge them and say thank you to a few people. Oh. Okay, hold the glasses. I've got to read it. Okay, firstly, thank you Danielle and Catherine, Max and Erica for opening your home. Despite being in the middle of major renos, it has made putting on this bash very interesting. I am one happy and proud mum and nan. Daniel, you're always there for your dad and I. I know there are frustrations when dealing with we oldies, and whether that be, and we're forever grateful for your support, and whether that's for dealing with, I was going to say technology, or asking the Portaloo to be moved 3 times yesterday. Catherine, thank you for always accommodating us. Could not wish for a more beautiful daughter-in-law, and you always make us very, very welcome, and thank you for today. Max and Erica, loves you. Thank you for your help today. You both always make me smile, especially trying to teach me Mario. And you know, never know, one day I might beat you. And today, when I clap my hands twice, they're my butlers. So they do whatever I want. Daniel, you and your family fulfill my life in every way, and I hope that we can all do this again in the next decade. Rex, my one and only brother, and the family favourite. Oh, there he is down the back. A big thank you for what you've done today. I hope the bus drive up wasn't too rowdy with the adults and not children, because there's still the drive back. There's a lot I could say about you, but I won't. I just want you to know that you have, let me turn the page, always been appreciated for the person you are. You have been there for our parents when I couldn't, especially Dad passed away. Together we supported our mum for the 12 years that followed, and we had many a laugh when looking for those little green pills. The best thing now is we live very close to each other for the first time. Too close sometimes, I'm sure you think, but I genuinely love that you and Lindsay and the family are there. Lindsay, your sense of humour always just cracks me up. The other night watching, State of Origin, I'm not interested in football, but I had such a ball just watching the comments on the side. We always joke about you being one of the youngest members of the family, and you live too close too, because one day, as we age, you'll be looking after all of us, as we say. Paige and Harrison, you both make me a very proud auntie, both with your achievements and taking on board the move to Hope Island, supporting your mum and dad with their choice, and I know it wasn't easy, but I love that I can see you every day if I want. To Peter, you my rock and my best friend, and I'm so glad I proposed to you that night back in February 1976, when, even if it was a joke at the time, it just shows now, in our 47th year, it was always meant to be. There are 2 people here today who can actually attest to that, and as they too were there with us that night. Peter, our life has been blessed with family and friends. We've both weathered a couple of storms in the past 3 years, but hey, we just treat them as a bump in the road and we get on with life. You've always been there for me and shown me some wonderful places in the world, and I've done that first class on more than one occasion, so I'm one lucky gal. Now you take that page. You are all here today because I have a reason for each of you being here. Whether it be you, a family, long-standing friends from the 20th century, or friends from the 21st century, each and every one of you play an important role in my life. Linda, Leslie, Cheryl, Debbie, Kim, I smile because you are my family and there ain't nothing you can do about it. But I love, we always make the effort to catch up and stay in touch. Rosemary and Neil were the 2 people who Peter and I were with on the 16th of February 1974. We have remained firm friends since, and Rosemary, you've always had a listening ear and a helping hand, and thank you for yesterday and today. Neil, along with Merle, you'll always make us very welcome when we come to Mackay. Now, John Kaysen was working at TAA with Peter back in 1974 in Mackay. I would always warn Peter when I saw him on the warpath to the airport. Having you and Tanya live in Hope Island and reconnecting our friendship and travelling you both has been wonderful. Jason and Minlee, thank you for coming from Melbourne. Honestly, I don't think you have ever missed a major family milestone since Mum and Dad introduced us back in 1980. Jason, you were always the third member of our family with much love by Mum and Dad, and together with Minlee, you both have included us in your family right back from when I was your bridesmaid, matron of honour. I value your friendship more than gold. We formed a strong bond with Jeff and Debbie, and Debbie can't be here today, but I'm sure she'll have her ears burning, and Chris and Brian in the late 70s, before we all had families. Again, we met through the travel industry. I always remember Debbie asking after Daniel was born, did it hurt? I think we all know the answer to that one. We've done some crazy things in our younger days together, but our friendships have stood the test of time as we've watched our children grow into capable adults. Back in the early 2000s, Peter had a wonderful boss in Terry Simpson, sitting there. Terry, thank you for sending home a happy husband and allowing the wives or partners to get involved in so many corporate events. They were just the best days. Neighbours. In our life, we've been blessed with two great neighbours. Firstly, in Brisbane with Mel and John, who couldn't come today because they're both down with the flu. And I actually knew them back in Mackay. But anyway, that's another story. And we lived next door to them for 17 years. But when we moved to Hope Island, we were fortunate to move next door to Roy and Ange. Our motto was always include your neighbours when you're having a party, and then they can't complain. We were neighbours for the next 14 years. Yeah. Denise and Steve, Nigel and Laurie were also close enough to call neighbours as well. Denise and I became top-notch bridge players, or so we think some days. We began having sundowners on a Sunday, but I was still working and everyone was kicked out at curfew at 8:30. Today, when we still meet for sundown, the curfew is still a joke. We stay beyond our curfew, now at least till 8:45. Through Daniel and Catherine's union, we get to share a lot of family events with the McPhail family. And it's always nice to catch up and share grandparent stories with Neil and Margaret. We always appreciate the time we spend with you all. Hope Island. When we moved there in 2007, we first had a contract on a house in Gracemere Circuit, but it was not where we ended up. At Tunes on the Terrace, we met a Scottish couple, Sid and Anne, somewhere down there. Anne immediately recognised our name as a couple who had the contract on their house and then pulled out. We were totally embarrassed and not sure how the conversation was going to end up. But here we are today, Anne and I still firm friends, walking the streets of Hope Island and solving the problems of the world. Sid, unfortunately not, but Jim, you have accepted us all and we love that. When I retired, I didn't learn to play golf, and I often found myself playing with Jill. It was always nice to play on a Sunday with Jill and Barry, preferably with the boys in one golf cart and the girls in the other. Then, when they told us what we were doing wrong, we could just move on. Anne, Dennis, Jeff and Lynn, along with Jim and Anne, make up our progressive dinner group. A diverse group, you might think, and what have we in common? Food, drink and themed dinners. Dennis and Anne never cease to amaze us with what they pull out from under the bed, and all of a sudden their home is transformed. Lynn had us in stitches, especially when she came to the door one evening dressed as a Queen's maid, complete with a marmalade sandwich in her handbag. That now leaves me with my Wednesday bridge friends. How fortunate have I been to be welcomed into this very select group of top bridge players, forever learning this frustrating game of cards. We meet each week at each other's homes, have a beautiful lunch, lots of laughs and some conversations that are just taboo. You are all my elders and I admire each and every one of you. and who couldn't come today, but Wenna, Dawn, Carolyn, Denise, Judy and Marjorie, I admire your outlook on life and for the joy we share in each other each week. Lloyd, thank you very much. We're going to have a fun afternoon because this is the end of the formalities and everybody sees a big sigh of relief. But I wanted to have my piece, and I just wanted to say how much I value every single person making the effort to come out to the valley today. So I've kept you all long enough now, and I just wanted you to know how much you mean. Now, just make sure your glasses are always full. Have a good time on us. I'm only 71. Thank you.
Now, Erica wants to sing a couple of songs.